Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's going on? Happy Friday, happy Juneteenth for those who celebrate and not at work. Today we know that Juneteenth is actually on Sunday, is it right? Sunday,
Sunday.
Monday,
Sunday, I
Monday.
believe.
Yes, it's actually on
Sunday, I
Monday, but
believe, but I think it's Sunday, but people are recognizing it on Monday
people
for work.
recognizing it today for work. Some may even be recognizing it. So I've heard maybe for Monday as well. So I'm not sure, but anyway, we're gonna celebrate that memorial that and keep that going strong over the weekend. Also, since it's Friday, just a shout out to all the fathers. Happy Father's Day, pre Happy Father's Day to you. Want to make sure you get celebration because you know the mothers have their day, and we want to shout out all of you dads that are doing it today. So, with that being said, what's going on today, ma'am? How are you?
Well, I'm good. Today, we have a couple of announcements we definitely want to make. For those who know our friend, our brother Martin Pratt, his book is on pre-launch right now. So head on
Yes.
over to theblacktoolbox.com and get yourself a autograph copy. Pre-order it now. You'll get an autograph copy from him, and help support someone who supports the rest of us. He always makes sure that we know the information that is accurate, and we are always in the know of new things that are on the horizon for us to really elevate ourselves. And of course, our other two friends, Russ and Scott, they have a live business mastermind group going on. So head on over, connect with them, and make sure that you join this live business mastermind. You'll find myself, Carl, Alex, Christine. There's so many amazing people in there for you to get to know and learn from each other. That's the great thing about this. We don't just listen to Russ and Scott. They of course share their knowledge and wisdom with us, but then we get to talk about what we do and how things do work for us and things don't work for us. And Carl has his 4 week intensive. Carl, tell the folks a little bit about this.
Well, it's my 4 week intensive. We've been talking about it. Are you ready to be transformed? It's a vulnerability transformation program. It's a guide to C-suite leadership. It's also a guide to leadership in general. But we always hitting the C-suiters. So 4 week intensive transformation. It really allows you to work through some of those things that are going on in your culture that you want to change, so you can be authentically and empowered in that culture. And we're just going to walk you through the 4 steps. That's all it is. 4 steps to get you moving and to get you to that destiny of where you're trying to be, whether it be in the leadership role, whether it be in just you building a safe culture in the essence of your team, your department, whatever it may be. So we do that one-on-ones. We do coaching and consulting with that. And we also do it on the corporate level as well. So yes, Zooms, we do it online. We do it all. So if you're ready to be transformed, go there, register today, find out about it, carlsonwatkins.com/VTP, and let me and my team help you today.
Yes, yes, yes. And of course, for me, if you guys know that you are struggling with your website, you don't know how to get it started, you don't even know what kind of platform to be on, come connect with me, brooklyncustomdesigns.com, BKLYN customdesigns.com /SOS. So I can help you out with the struggle site rescue and allow you to understand what you need so you can actually get the best out of your website and create something that will not only look good, but actually function the way you need it to function. Because that's a lot of problems that we come through. We figure out that we just need to be online, but we have no game plan around that. So I will definitely be more than happy to help you get that together. So let's get started today.
Let's
Welcome
get started.
everybody who are heading the show, and make sure that you drop in where you're coming from, where you tuning in from, where you listening from, especially on hashtag replay. We love to know where you guys are tuning in from, because it just makes it known and we can really recognize y'all properly. So thank y'all for always coming through. But today we're talking
Absolutely.
about being heard and not just seen, because a lot of times you'll discuss being visible, having visibility in your business, in your life, in your career. But what does that mean if you're not even being heard? People are not taking you seriously. Whatever you're saying does not resonate. So we want to talk about being heard and not just seeing today. And that,
Absolutely.
and what does that mean to us? What does that mean for you, Carl?
Just that being, I think it's always that we want to be seen. If you actually do the reverse on that, right? When you were growing up, most cultures tell the kids, be seen and not heard. So it's always that thing about, yeah, we know that the kids are there and they're part of, but you're not hearing from. And I think once we get into business and once we build brands and once we want people to be known about us, yes, seeing and visibility is a key, but you also want people to hear exactly what it is you're doing, what is you're offering, and what kind of value you're bringing to them. Because being seen, I see lots of commercials. If you just take the media, for instance, you see a lot of commercials on TV, but not all of them resonate with you. And most of them, the commercials don't even match what the item is that they may be selling or what they're trying to provide for you. So being seen all the time is not the end all to be all, but being heard in an accomplishment of being seen as well. That relationship bodes well for you, but people need to hear the things that they need to hear. And when I'm saying that, not you changing to hear them, but they need to hear through you a solution to their problem. They need to hear through you that you're addressing the pain points that they have and being heard. There's a lot of ways that we can be heard, but are we being heard where people are actually engaging with us? Or are we just adding on to the noise that's already involved with the social media, with the ads, with all of those kind of things? So being heard is really important.
I love that you said that. Are we adding to the noise? Because, we had a discussion yesterday on Real Talk about
Mhm.
using media and social media in particular to build our brand. But if you're so busy following and chasing these trends, are you really adding value? Are you really adding anything significant? Or are you just adding to the noise of trying to be viral, trying to be visible, and saying nothing? Because a lot of times these viral items that people are chasing, does that add anything to you as a business, to you as a person? What is
Mhm.
that really doing? So we have to be careful about things that we're chasing. Are we adding to the noise or are we bringing value to the game? I love that.
Absolutely. Yes.
I love that. So our myth buster for today is you only need to connect with other visible people to build your credibility. What do you think about that?
Not. I know a lot of times. I think this this is where we get trapped into the follower syndrome. We tend to see that someone has hundreds of thousands of followers, and they think that by us following them, we're instantly credible. What we do, what we offer is instantly credible. Of course, there's strategies to that can be effective for you. Following someone that's very visible, it is definitely some strategies to that. But just to know this myth, it's just you following alone without a strategy or without intention will not build your credibility. Not only that, if you're not being heard in the essence of what you're doing, the visibility part will wane off because people are following the individual that you're following. So if you're not standing out from them, even though you may be following visible or connecting with visible people, that does you no good. So your credibility still has to be built with a foundation of what you do, what you offer, what you provide. And in that, jumping on with someone that's visible can become a good strategy for you. You can do a connection. I do it oftentimes. Sometimes when I write things in the essence of my vulnerability and the things I write, I tag Brene Brown. Sometimes I tag Adam Grant. I tag those who are really visible, high level, way more than I am as far as followers are concerned, and who have an establishment. But I'm tagging them with the credible things that I do. So it's an enhancement of me being visible. It's not me just sitting on someone's coattail and waiting for them to walk so I can get drugged behind.
Hmm.
So with that being the case, you have to be doing your own. So yes, this is yes, you only need to connect with only visible people to build your credibility. I would tell you, like Steve Harvey said, wrong answer.
And part of that too is knowing that as you're doing this, as you're connecting with these visible people, are they credible? Just because they're
Yes.
visible doesn't mean that they bring credibility to the game either. So you need to be aware of who you're connecting to. We saw that personally a couple of times where people were
Mhm.
visible, they were out there, and we're like, okay, they doing their thing, and the next thing you know, behind the scenes started to overflow. So we had to
Mhm.
be like, okay, what's happening? This is looking crazy. So you have to be careful of who are you connecting yourself to, because their credibility may not be there. And we spoke about this earlier in this series. The fact that you're visible, the fact that you're viral, does not automatically equate to you being a credible person. Does not
Right.
equate to you being a credible business person or human. Some people are just not credible. Period. But they play the game well, right? So they know all the games and the schemes and the tricks of,
Mhm.
as long as you see me, then you can believe in me. Nah, that's not how that
Yeah.
goes, because eventually your walls are going to come down. So you have to make sure that whatever happens on the outside, what's internal is true. So if you're if and you hear people always talking about be authentic, and then they turn out to be frauds. The whole boss girl thing fell apart because so many of those thought leaders in that industry or in that genre were turning out to not be as authentic as they pretended to be. Their true colors were
Mhm.
shining. So you need to make sure that when you're putting yourself out there and you're connecting with others, they may be visible, but are they credible? So yeah,
Mhm.
just because they're visible doesn't mean you need to hitch your wagon to them. So really always be careful about that. So now when we talk about being heard and not just seen, I want to really make it known that you need to focus on building a meaningful platform that you can get behind, you can support
Yeah.
through thick and thin. That's where people really start to test you. They want to test and see, do you even know what you're talking about? Are you always talking about this vulnerability? Do you always believe in website strategy? Yes. Because at the end of the day, no matter what platforms you're on, no matter who you're speaking to, no matter what the time of the I want to say the year is, the season, no matter what that is, we both stand strong in what we are always talking about, because we've seen
Yeah.
it time and time again. No matter what happens, you always come back to that. That has always been the core for what we both speak on and what we both advocate for. So that's how we speak so strongly about it. And for us, our platforms have become more and more meaningful because we support it and we can back it, and we can always give examples of why these are important. So when you're doing that, as you're starting to really get out there and you're building your credibility publicly, right, you want to make
Yeah.
sure that you're building it on a meaningful platform that you can always support. The moment you start to get shaky on that platform, it's a wrap. What do you think, Carl?
No, it is. It's the way to be. You got to create that meaningful platform, and in the platform, of course, you've already got a few that everyone is using these social media platforms that you have at your it's your disposable. You have to be able to dive into them and put about the credibility, the credible information that you believe in, that is truthful to you and that you stand on. That's what's been your core. That's what's been some of the core values that regulate with you. So that in essence, when you're talking about it, or you're chatting about it, or you're giving people tips about it, or you even in your zone of genius, as a lot of others like to use in the terminology, people can resonate with what you're saying because it is exclusive to you. Maybe not that industry, maybe not that clientele, maybe not even the clients that you seek to have, but with what you're saying, I can see across the board that this is you. As far as much as it can be, we know social media also has a lot of ways that things can be distorted or things can be changed. But for the most part, if you're having a platform on whatever one that
Mhm.
you're choosing to put your things on, you have to remain credible on each and every one of those and create that meaningfulness,
Yeah.
create those relationships in those platforms where people can see that you're not just one who's just dropping things and leaving. Or I get this all the time with these communities. We have these community leaders. Oh my God, they just build these communities. It's sort of like these developments that get built and they run out of money. and it's 4, 5 houses still standing, and you got a whole lot of dugout spots where they haven't finished building. That's what I look at when I see a lot of these communities. They build these communities. You have these people that be excited about building a platform or inviting you to these platforms, and there's no nurturing there.
Mhm.
This is what you have to do to create your credibility in the platform you
Right.
use. You have to nurture the ones that's coming to hear you. You have to nurture the ones that's seeking maybe some of the information that you have, and in that builds
Mhm.
credibility, because once 2 or 3 or 4 people start saying, "Yo, I think this guy right here is pretty much," you already have that. The same as if 4 or 5 people say, "Yo, he's trash." You can best believe that's gonna that's gonna be the same way. So it works in both
Yeah.
those manners, and if you're not putting into it, you're not going to receive from it. So it takes work to cultivate, and it takes work to do. And building credibility is something that it can take a long time to do, and it can take a minute to destroy. So you have to make sure that you stay solid with that.
Yes, and I'm moving around because my light is moving around.
Uh,
The sun is doing all kinds of things outside.
mm,
So yes. But I also wanted to add to that. Let's take it to the corporate world, right? A lot of people
mm,
are in corporate. They're trying to build their personal brand in there, and they're trying to get to the next level. But how can you get to the next level if whatever you stand for in corporate is you shift when the wind blows? As soon as the new
mm.
regime come, all your ideals change. You want to promote yourself as the person who knows everything about a particular product or a particular group or functionality, and then as soon as the new regime says, well, we don't like how that works, you're like, oh, me too, I don't like that either, I never liked it. Like, you can't be like that. And why can't you be like that in corporate? Because you cannot ignore those who stay there for long term. You have people in corporate who are still there 20 years, 10 years. Those long term folks, they recognize that, they see you
Mm.
doing that, and then they now lose respect for you. They see you not as a credible person to follow and listen to. So as soon as something new come, you're not the person they come into, because they can't
Yeah.
trust you. They can't trust how you flow. So you want to make sure that what you're standing for is meaningful, and what you're standing for you can be true to regardless of who comes in, because there's no shame in trying something new, but when you start to reject what you've been building on all that time, it becomes a
Mhm.
problem, because now you have nothing to stand for. And what they say, if we don't have something to stand for, we fall for anything.
Yes,
So you got to really be careful about
absolutely.
doing stuff like that.
Yes, so
and
true, so true.
And the next thing I definitely want to talk about is when you want to be heard, find engaging in unique ways to share your message. Not
Mhm.
everybody's going to understand what you're saying. So find unique ways to do it. Find a different way. And when I say that, I mean, if someone is trying to understand your stance, like how Carl loves using his grandma isms, right? I like to break certain points down as simple as possible and probably even relate it to personal experiences. That simplifies the thought process for a lot of people, and they can start to envision it better. So when you're starting to be heard, you want to make it in a way that people can envision what you're saying and take it all
Mhm.
in. Because if they can't, then it's a disconnect. They can't really support what you're doing, they can't support what you're saying. So that's why you see a lot of people use family in terms of connecting what they believe in. They use
Yeah.
religion. They use other beliefs that they have. They're using that to connect to those who feel the same way or similar, or make it just easier for them to understand and really get it into to breaking it down for them. What do you say on that, Carl?
Yes, it is that you have to build that. You have to build that. Y'all see me look. I'm trying to find my plug. I see my light getting green. Up here. So you have to build that. The awkward, right? So you have to build that. You have to build that up. Put up. Don't try to laugh at me. You know everybody forgot that. I'm looking up at the top of my screen and I see that little light turn red. My
Your
battery about.
battery, like, hello, bruh. You are streaming
I'm
live.
sitting
What are
up
you
there. I'm
doing
sitting up
today?
there just chit chatting, and the stream gonna go. It's gonna look like somebody closed the door. But anyway, you have to find you that engagingness is really the embodiment of you. Everybody has a message. Everyone that you run into, everyone you come across, they will have a message. Their life has been a message. Situations and things that they've been through are messages. But the uniqueness about that, even if we share the same message, the uniqueness about it is that it has taken me a different way that it's taken you, and that's what you find engaging to use, and that's unique to you to share that message. We all there's I don't know, there's countless coaches on. I won't even go into the millions and billions, but it's countless of coaches. But in the essence of dealing with a coach, seeking a coach, working with the coach, you're looking for the engaging and the uniqueness in this coach. And does that give you something for which you can build on for what you're looking for? Because there's a lot of coaches, yeah, Tony Robbins, Les, all of these guys that coach and speak, right? And they the rah
Hmm.
rah guys. I mean, you may be a person that rah rah don't move you. You know what I mean? But rah
Hmm.
rah and getting you all hyped and pep rally and that kind of style. That's not you. So you have to find a coach that can dig into what you're doing. And in essence of doing that, you have to be engaging and they have to be engaging. So with you giving a message, especially on the other end, if you're not seeking, with you giving a message to get out some of the things that you may be doing or offering to people and showing that value. Find unique ways to do that. We had the show on Tuesday, and we were talking about so many ways to doing that in the media profile place of that and building your brand. But there's a lot of ways that you can do that on a simplistic state, just you, yourself, and I, without having a whole lot
Hmm.
of things with that. We know in the beginning we do with the point the camera, do the video kind of thing. As that progress, you progress. Find different ways that's unique to you, unique to the embodiment of who you are, unique to the message that you're trying to bring. So when people see that message, it won't get flooded in the waters of 1,000 coaching messages. Can you imagine how many people get notifications all day long? And if you're not sticking out to them, man, I delete a lot. And some of it be interesting to read, but I don't have time to because past the first or second sentence, they haven't engaged me. It wasn't unique, and even now, the uniqueness of six steps to seven figures that is played out. People are not even getting taps on that anymore. I mean, some people would get a taps on it, not so much for believing that they could provide that, but just to see what this unique way of you talking about six steps to seven figures is going to provide for me. So it was interesting. Curiosity killed the cat on a lot of that. But now you can see a lot of that. People are not giving their time to that because it's not unique and it's not engaging. And for first and
Hmm.
foremost, it's not credible to the extent of what you're trying to sell. So yes, find engaging ways, whatever works for you, whatever you try to work. Be a beta in everything that you do until it provides some kind of results for you that you are proud of, that you want to do with, or get that and do it and get those results and garner something else and try something else unique. So there's a lot of ways to do that, but you got to find that. You got to find those ways to be heard.
Yes, and I love that you said, there's all the same amount of people. If you have
Hmm.
coaches, there's like millions of coaches. But then if you look at them, they're finding different ways to be those type of coaches,
Hmm.
consultants. They're finding different ways. What makes them stand out? Maybe it's the way that they connect. They might be doing the exact same process, but they just talk to you more, or they listen more, whatever that is. They found a way to stand out and be in a unique way, so they can allow their clients or their peers to hear what they're saying. And when you're
Hmm.
doing that, it makes you stand out more. You may not be the brightest or the smartest, but it allows you to stand out because people are paying attention, and that's what it
Yes.
means to that's what you really ultimately want. Instead of you being visible, you want people to hear what you're saying and take note of that, and then of course take action. And people can't take action if they're not paying you no mind. So we're part of that is being consistent. To be heard, you need to be consistently out there. You need to be comfortable so you can be consistently out there. For me, being on this lives with Carl and Sheree, I'm comfortable in this space, so I can do this more and I can be more consistent. A lot of times, if it's just me, I'm able to back out and I'm okay. But I can't back out with Carl. Carl's like on my phone, like, hello. He's calling me, hello.
Let's get it
or
done.
he
Let's
or
get
we
it done.
touch yeah, we touch base the night before, the day before, just to make sure like you good, yeah, everything's okay. And throughout the week when things come up, we maneuver our time so we can accommodate, but we don't want to give that inconsistency. We want to stay like, look, this has got to get done. Let's do it. Let's move some things around and we're going to still be here. So stuff like that is very much true to being heard, is if you're consistent and you're comfortable being in that space, it's easier for you to be relevant and be heard and be unique, and then speak what you need to speak, and then be on that meaningful platform that you can support. You see how all of that kind of builds up, that
Hmm.
allows you all to be in one space. So without you
Yes.
thinking or overthinking it, right? It's just
Mhm.
those small steps that you're taking to do um, the overall goal achievement. What do you got to say on that, sir?
Yeah,
Your wisdom.
that's it. You got to be you got to be consistent. That's pretty much what everyone for, and that consistency go hand in hand with that credibility. Because if you're consistently putting out, and it even builds that, so it rises as you rise, right? When you're consistent with doing what you're doing in the interim or the beginning portions of it, it may look like it's not working because it's just like building a house. You have to build the foundation, and you can't set everything on the rock or the basement part until that solidifies, until that's solid, until it's a base. That I look at that you build your business, that you build your brand. You have to solidify that, and how you solidify that is maybe with your content, with your videos, with the things that you talk about. That, but if you're being consistent in building that, when I first came on talking about vulnerability, that was going to be the cornerstone to everything I talked about, and I built everything else around that. So I went from leadership, I went from individual, I went from leaders, went to TC, I'm in C-suite, went to corporates, I went to companies, I went to teams. But vulnerability held all of that together for me. So when the leadership started bounding on top of that, it was an instant standing, instant foundation that what I was doing could stand. But it also was a part of me being comfortable with it because I continually did it. A lot of times we do things and the consistency isn't there because we're not comfortable with what we're doing, or it's to the fact that it's an uncomfortable that we're trying to do and we don't want to do it because it's not comfortable. But in those things, comfortable and consistency they work hand in hand. And if you're being consistent and people can see that, then comes the credibility. Then it becomes the belief. Then people could say, "Oh, I see that," because this is what you've been talking. We've been talking about this for over a year now. We're talking this for over 2 years now. Now I've been watching you on social media or watching you on whatever since the pandemic, since we've been engrossed so much since then. Oh, I can go back and see some of your last stuff. I can go see some of your last lives. I can see your YouTube channel. I can see, oh, you've been talking about that a minute. That automatically builds the credibility that you're seeking when people see that. No, they may not have tried your service or your product. They may not even engaged in you in your post or your content. But what they're seeing is a consistent pattern in what you're doing. And a lot of us look for patterns. It's just human nature. We look for patterns provide us comfort. And in the essence of those comforts, we find the ability to open up. So if I'm consistent with you, talking about the same thing and making you comfortable, I've automatically got 50% of what I'm trying to do now. Because the other 50% you're going to release in the essence of, okay, I see you. Okay, I can give you a little more. Okay, I'm comfortable with what you're saying. So it works hand in hand. So to be consistent and make it comfortable for you is definitely the key of what you want to do, however model or module you tend to use to put that out there.
Exactly. And I love that Loretta said overthinking and perfection equals procrastination. And that's how
Absolutely.
I always do things. And especially um, when it comes to making sure that I do it right, I don't want to keep going over and over and improving and fixing it. And that's how I think. But I've worked really hard to not allow that to be every single item that I push out to be perfect. There's going to be hiccups along the way, and I can accept that. So it's the same thing with you. If you know that you need to get something done, just get it done. Get it done
Mhm.
and build on that. Don't get it done, leave it in stage one. Not every project needs to stay in stage one. That's when you push it out, you see how it's being taken, how are people receiving it, and then you build and improve on that. Maybe it's something that doesn't need to be improved. Maybe it needs to be scrapped, but you're not going to know until you can push it out and see how people are receiving what you're putting out there. Any last words for the folks? Because I know it's about that time. I
Yeah,
want
we
to
we we
be
we
mindful.
we ran it through in those ways to be seen. We want you to take, and in those ways to being seen, there are calls to action, not only from the ones that you want to engage in your content, services, or products, but it's also calls to actions to yourself. What are you continuously putting in the way of doing so you can continually to be that? I like what Loretta said. the overthinking and perfection. Those are a lot of obstacles and the barriers that we put on our own self. We're overthinking to get it out, to get it out, to get it out. Look, one of the most successful companies with putting out stuff, and they always got to go back and do updates, is Apple, right? They are a prime example of putting things out beta. Somebody got a great idea, they tinker with it a little bit, get it enough where it's serviceable and it works to some degree, and they put it out and they had the lines buying it, right? The pre-orders be through the roof. Right. I got I got four Apple things right now. They send me an update all the time. So there are going to be places at points where the perfection part of that you're not going to achieve. You're not going to achieve. Does that stop you from buying Apple products? Absolutely not. Because they do that and they hit that update in the Apple Store or wherever they hit it in the settings, they update their stuff and they keep walking. When Apple say I'm putting out this and that, I just saw a tremendous commercial for their brand new MacBook. Beautiful commercial, beautiful graphics, beautiful colors. Oh my God, they say it's light as a feather. It's beautiful. All of that on there. Now, when you get that and go home and pre-order that, right? You're gonna have to do an update. So stop thinking about we putting out as perfect. Put it to a semblance of where you're confident in repeating it, being
Right.
repetition in it, be consistent in saying it. And if anything comes along where you can tweak it, you do that. But put it out there. Let folks see it. Because so you got something somebody needs. We all got something somebody needs. So put it out there. It's my word for the day. Put
I
it out
love
there.
that. I love that. Thank y'all all for coming through. And I saw Sherry come through. Hey, Sherry.
Hey Sherry.
um, yes, like Sherry, Florence, Loretta. I
Yeah,
know I saw
Sherry from
Shannon
Beverly
in
Hills out there.
here.
Sherry, you up early this morning, Sherry in Beverly Hills.
Okay, but she always does that. She's always up supporting
Awesome,
and
awesome,
always on the
awesome.
move too. So if you ever need a PR person to really get you
Yeah.
out there, that's Sherry. Get connected with Sherry for sure. And I just wanted to say thank you for coming through. And next week, as we talk and we wrap this part of the series up, we're going to talk
Yeah.
about using your website to build the sustainability of all the work that you've done, from
Mhm.
you building your visibility, you building on your credibility, and using vulnerability to do all of that and tie all those pieces together. Now we're going to talk
Yes.
about how to get your website to make sure that it can help you sustain all of that hard work that you've done, all that effort that you've put in. Allow your
Mhm.
website to be that foundation to help carry you through, so you're not sitting there fumbling and going through all these different programs and services and trying to figure out algorithms. No, figure out, create your own algorithm through your website. That way people can start to build and connect with you there. So we're going to go into deeper conversation about that next Friday, and I can't wait. Thank you all for coming
Yes.
through, and we will see y'all next Friday. Enjoy your
Yes.
weekend, y'all.
Enjoy your weekend. Happy Father's Day to the dads.